this is Corey Rogers, Vice President of Marketing for National Equipment Dealers, and today we're at Bell Truck's annual training meeting. They bring in several groups throughout the week. We're out here in the middle of sunny Florida in a large sand pit, and behind me we are getting ready to get on some of the Bell tracked carriers. Very unique product. They carry a couple different models, a 7-ton and an 11-ton, and a couple different bed configurations. They've also got multiple Bell articulated dump trucks out here, different sizes. I think there's a 20 with low ground pressure tires. They've got a 30-ton, 45-ton, 40-ton. So we're going to get an opportunity today with some of our sales team from NED and some other distributors from around the country that represent the Bell truck product. And we're going to get on some of these machines, learn all about them, drive them, and get a first-hand view of how these trucks run. So join us today for a lot of fun. Bell trucks are one of the best trucks on the market. If you'd like more information about the Bell truck product line, reach out to us through our website at nedealers.com. Right there on that site, you'll also find product literature, information, and an opportunity to request a quote.
Hello, my name is Carlos Garcia for Bell Trucks America, based out of Houston. I am locally the regional service manager for Florida. Behind me, we got the TC11s working. We do carry a TC11 and TC7A. They're powered by Cummins engines, which is the reliability you can compete with. The tracks, they maintain constant ground pressure, and the design, the cab is very secure. It's actually designed by Bell, not by a third party. The controllers, we try to implement what we carry on the ADT trucks, the articulated dump trucks, into the track carrier. So if you can operate a dump truck, you can operate a TC11. They're hydrostatically driven, rect Roth pumps and motors. And I mean, like I said, no competition against it. And they work great.
I'm Brent with NED. We're here today with Bell Trucks as field day, and I just had a little bit of time in a TC11A track carrier going through the mud and the water, and what I've noticed best about that truck is the stability on it. We were going over some pretty gnarly hills and slopes, and I was bracing for impact, and it actually was a pretty smooth ride. I was really impressed with the ride on that machine. It's pretty quiet in the cab as well, and the air conditioning works incredibly well. I actually had to turn it down. It's probably 96 degrees out right now, and it was freezing me out. So it's a great truck, quiet cab, a lot of power, and grading power, and going through the real thick mud. I mean, it just chewed right through it. Didn't feel like it was slipping at all or losing traction through the swamp we were going through today.
Hi, I'm Dan Letterly. I'm the Chief Sales Officer for National Equipment Dealers, and we're out here in Florida for the annual Bell training session. We've got all of our Bell trucks out here so that our sales guys can get on them, they can drive them, they can touch them, they can feel them, they can try to get them stuck, although they usually fail at that. Some of the things that are most incredible about a Bell truck is, first off, is that we support about 1,000 of them. So it is no longer an experiment. It's the fastest growing articulated hauler in the US. A couple of the features that I find that sets us apart is, first off, is that we've got a service called Fleetmatics. And through Fleetmatics, we can monitor the complete uptime on the truck, how many cycles it does. With the load system on it, we can actually measure the payload of every single haul, every single cycle, measure continuous fuel efficiency. So it's really one of the things that our customers find that they really enjoy. A couple of features on our machine. Clearly, we have got a center-mounted cab. We've got a Mercedes engine, a fully automatic Allison transmission, and we have diff locks throughout. So there's longitudinal locks for the drop box, and then of course transverse axle locks for the front, middle, and rear axle. So basically, if you can walk there, we can pull through there. In addition to that, our axles, which is very important, is our axles are fabricated, they're not cast design. A cast design requires a lot less welding, but it's also much, much heavier. So it's easier to manufacture, but you're carrying all that extra weight with you, even on an unloaded trip. So with the fabricated axles, we're lighter when we're traveling loaded, and we're lighter when we're traveling unloaded. As a result, we have better fuel efficiency. We have a higher horsepower per ton because we're carrying around less metal. You know, that doesn't put money into your pocket. The strain gauges on the frame to measure payload, we even have a couple customers that bill off of that system. We're fortunate to have a strong partner like Bell, And Bell has put this training together every single year, and we always bring our salespeople here, particularly if they're new, because we considered our sales representative as consultants. So as a result, we need them better informed so that they can help customers make better decisions when buying or leasing equipment.
So I finally got an opportunity to jump in one of these trucks. I'm getting in the B20E, and I'm standing here next to Dion. Tell me how to say your last name, Dion.
Dion Hubert.
Dion Hubert is actually from the factory in South Africa, and he's here. Dion is the smartest man alive in South Africa. Apparently he, I think, designed and created a lot of what is Fleetmatics today, which is their telematics platform. It's an amazing system. It communicates a lot of great information, working information, daily service information, all kinds of stuff that you can see through that platform. And he's had a big role in that with the factory. But we're going to jump in this B20E. This machine is 6x6 drive. It's got LGP, which are low ground bearing pressure tires on it. So it does wonderful in high flotation areas and swampy areas. And we're going to give this thing a run and see how it does.
And it's good looking. I think it's good looking.
And it's good looking from the smartest man in South Africa. All right, here we go. Dion, I know I've been in these trucks before. One of the nice things about these trucks is the SSM, which is the sealed switch module, and it's very intuitive. At the top, you've got your start and stop function, your hazard lights, your parking brake. It does have an auto park brake, correct?
That's correct. The auto park brake is indicated by the green park brake indicator there.
And if we want to drive, we have to release that first, and then the auto park brake starts to engage anytime we take our foot off the accelerator, correct?
No, you actually don't have to turn it off. The only time you need to turn off the auto park brake is after the engine was stopped.
Okay.
So, but auto park brake is on. If you start the engine the first time, you disengage park brake, and after that, auto park brake does it for you.
Okay. One of the nice things also on this SSM keypad is that they have the retarders built into it. So these two arrows here control the amount of retardation, and I think you've got up to 7 different stages of retardation that you can adjust the amount of hydraulic retardation. Now this particular truck doesn't have hydraulic retardation; it uses transmission, right? Or is that an option on the 20? I think the B20, it's an option, if I recall. Brad Castle, who works for Bell North America, he was saying earlier that the B25E has dry disc or dry brakes, and anything B30 and up has got wet disc brakes. So the B30 and up have the brake retardation, and then I think the B25 has got transmission retardation, and B20 it's an option. I think that's what you're saying.
Okay.
So we've got that here. You can also adjust your speed limit from these buttons. If you hold them in, then you have the ability to adjust the speed limit.
Yes.
Your differential locks, your controlled traction differential and interaxle diff lock is engaged through this button.
That's correct.
This is your I-tip function, and depending on the light that's illuminated, you can have hard stops where you can shake out material, and I think the bin raises to 100%.
Yeah.
Or you can have soft stops.
The hard stops, what it does is the hard stops closes the solenoid abruptly.
Okay.
And the idea there is maybe sticky material with that hard stop actually bump out.
Would fall out. Okay.
So the soft stops is just more comfortable.
Okay. So it's a slower close on that solenoid.
Yeah, it gets controlled proportionally.
Gotcha.
So that's the purpose of the hard stops is to try and pump sticky material. So at this stage we've got both LEDs on.
Yeah. So that would be hard stop with driveline assist.
So press the button, and then I'm gonna. So you can see there on the screen.
Hard stops.
Both were off.
Okay.
So if you press it again, keep your eye on the screen. Now hard stops are on, and the first LED is turned
so
on.
I was just backwards. So
Yeah.
hard stops and driveline assist are on, and if I hit it again,
Now only driveline assist is on, and
So-
hard stops are off. And if
Okay.
you hit it again, both will be on.
okay. So hard stops, driveline assist, both lights need to be illuminated. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. If it's just the one light illuminated in the middle, then I'll have the driveline assist, which applies the park brake, increases my engine RPM, but it would be soft stops. If both are illuminated, then it would be hard stops, and it would do that same automated
Yes, exactly.
function.
100%.
Okay, cool. And then of course you can control your AC functions here. You have a gear hold button here. Trying to remember all that I've learned.
Do you know that the on the drive and reverse buttons you can also set the range? Did you know that?
Set the speed range.
No, the gear range. So
No,
you
I did
see
not know that.
you see the arrows.
Yep.
The arrows on the drive and the reverse. That is to indicate that you can
these
sort of go
arrows,
into
okay.
a manual mode where you can limit the highest gear that the machine will go to.
So we could bump it down from the 6-speed to 5, and we don't
Yes.
automatically exchange or change gears up to the 5th speed.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's
So
pretty cool
maybe
to
that's
know
something you should try if you didn't know that.
that. Let's do it. We'll do it.
So just for information, it only becomes active as soon as the output shaft speed is above 275 RPM, which translates to more or less 5 kilometers per hour, which translates to something like 3 miles an hour.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So it only
And how
takes
would you
on-
do that? Do you depress the drive button and hold it?
No, it's just when you're driving, you can just short press it.
It's a short press.
and it will change the range. But
and
now
I'll see that on the monitor.
you will
here in the
see
front.
that on the display. So in the situation where we are now stationary, you'll drive off. It will take on the top range. Sixth gear would be your top range.
Yeah.
And then if you press the reverse button, it will take it down to 5th and 4th. Yeah, it will then limit you when we get to that gear.
Well, let's get on it. Let's try it.
Yeah, let's
All right,
try
so
it.
we're gonna press my service brake. I'm gonna release the park brake.
No, you didn't.
No, I
because
didn't.
it was on auto park
Okay,
brake.
now I
You see-
released it.
Okay, so just
should
do that
just press
again.
drive.
Just do that park brake thing again.
Okay.
You see the LED comes on. That indicates that switch is on, which means the park brake is on.
Okay.
The manual park brake, if
Gotcha.
you like. So turn it off again, and it's on the green.
Yep.
Okay, turn it on again. So you see it goes
Park
to
brake's
park.
on.
Now that's manual park brake. It will not release.
Right.
You will even generate the park brake burnout if you drive through the park brake now. It will not release the park brake.
Okay.
Okay. So we're not in auto park brake mode now, but if you press the button again, we're back in auto park brake,
Now
and
that's
then
auto
it will auto park brake, and then it will sense that you want to drive off, and then it will release it for you.
I got you. So now all I got to do is press the drive button.
Correct.
Accelerate. Correct.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so now press the R button.
Okay. R. All right.
see, so there's
we've
a-
moved from 6th gear down to 5 speed. So we
Yes.
we're only going to be able to. Which way am I going? Am I going over
Go
here?
straight, yeah.
We're only going to be able to shift up to the 5th gear.
That's correct.
Unless I press the D button to increase. I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
That was pretty slow.
And that is you would wonder why, but it is very useful. It's like similar to gear hold, where if you drive up a hill and there's maybe just a quick leveling out, and then you would have to go up again. In a situation like that, the transmission will most probably upshift, and then moments later it will want to downshift again. So
If I want to bump it up now that I'm going over 3 miles an hour, I just hit the D.
and now we'll go back into range 6 because it doesn't show the limitation there.
So it's not showing the 6.
Yeah, it doesn't show the 6 range because that's not a limitation on this,
Gotcha,
on this
gotcha.
transmission. Let's just try and get a bit of a shot of the.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two other lesser known features on the SSM.
Yeah.
If you press and hold the fan button,
Okay.
press and hold it, it turns it off, regardless of what speed it's on. Press and hold it again, then it's full blast.
I did not know that.
So
That's
you
cool.
can, instead of cycling through all the speeds to turn it off or get to full blast, you can just press and hold it to quickly turn it on or quickly turn it off.
That is cool.
Okay, so yeah, that's a lesser known thing, but I use it all the time. That's why I tell you.
No, I like it.
I tell you the features I like. I don't know if anyone else likes them, but we sort of write the software for ourselves. Sometimes we think maybe someone else
So
will like it.
now you've written a lot of the software for the Bell. For the Fleetmatic.
Yeah.
Did you write software for the system as well, or?
I've written some display software. I've written a little bit of chassis control software.
So SSM is one part of it. The other side of it is we have what Bell's calls the B drive, which is over to my right. The B drive is a multi-function control that allows you to navigate through the menus on the display, and then it also operates your, now on the track carriers it operates your throttle, but on the Bell trucks it doesn't have a throttle function. But it does operate the different menu selections, as you can see when I scroll it. And then you can go into, I think you go into the Bell B button.
No, you will have to choose one of these first.
Oh, we got to choose one. So that's our counter screen. That's going to help us keep track of how many bin dumps we have throughout the day.
Yeah.
Which we can use to calculate our production, correct?
Yeah.
That's pretty slick. Then you've got your, this will tell us what our roll and pitch is, so that, and because of the tip save function, it helps to prevent us if we're over.
It's 15% is the default.
15%.
It's actually configurable. It's actually quite conservative that we release it from the factory, and in most cases it makes sense to be that
so
conservative.
It's 15% of what pitch and roll. So
it's 15% in the sense that it's a tangent of the degree.
So what's the degree that it's 15% of?
Now I'm gonna lie.
45 degrees?
No, 15% is, I think it's 8 degrees.
Of 8 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, so 15%, a 15%, or let's say it like this: a 100% incline is 45 degrees.
Right.
So as I say, the tangent of the angle would give you a number like, in the case of 45, it would be 1. The tangent of 45 degrees would be 1. The tangent of, I think it's 8 degrees, would be 0.08, which is 0.15, which is 15%.
You lost me at Algebra 1.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's safe to operate. It helps to prevent you from rollover, because if you go past 15%, it won't allow you to raise the bin.
Exactly.
When you're running in tip set.
That's
That can be overridden, correct?
It can't be overridden, but
okay.
if you can configure it to be a different, less aggressive percentage, or even more aggressive if you want. So, and that's just one of the features related to the tilt sensors. The tilt sensors are very, very important for vehicle control as well. We use it all the time to help with speed control downhill. We use it to help with automatic park brake. So if you are on an incline, we measure that angle that the vehicle is at, and that allows us to know at which torque to release the park brake to prevent rollback. There's all kinds of things that the tilt sensors get used for.
Wow.
Incidentally, there's a tilt sensor on the front of the vehicle. In the controller we call the memory module, and then there's also a tilt sensor on the rear chassis.
So the onboard weighing system that is built into all Bell trucks, which is a great value in Bell trucks, that system uses pressure sensors at the articulation joint and at the walking beams. Is that correct?
It's not pressure sensors. It's
load cells.
Strain gauges.
Strain gauges.
Yes.
Okay. So strain gauges, load cells at those two different points. Does it also use any other technology, or is it just a calculation off of those two sensors?
It's 3 sensors. So the walking beams, I'm going to take a picture of just below the brake lights on this machine. You've got the walking beams. You can see the sandwich blocks there. So in the center of those walking beams at the bottom, we've got on each of them there's a load cell.
Okay.
And then on what we call
you've got a left and a right.
Yes.
Okay.
And what we call the mid chassis, just behind the cab, there's another one of those. So those 3 load cells allow us to measure weight on the rear chassis, on the 2 axles at the rear, which obviously the majority of the payload goes to, but we also have the ability to measure with the front strain measurement on the mid chassis. We have the ability to measure transfer of weight to the front axles. So on a B30, if I remember correctly, the transfer is typically in the region of 18% of the payload actually transfers to the front axle.
Another nice thing that they have in the Bell truck cab is remote controlled mirrors on the right hand side and the left. So you have the ability, just like in an automobile, to change for the left side or the right side and adjust the mirror position. This can save a lot of money, and it certainly saves a lot of time and hassle for the operator. Really nice feature. Another thing that Dan Letterly, who's our chief sales officer, mentioned to me that I think is a great feature is the ability to jump the battery from within the cab. You do have to have a specialized cord, but you have the ability to plug that in there and jump the battery from within the cab, which is a nice convenience feature for the operator as well if the battery needs a jump. You do have, as sitting in the jump seat, we've got a jump seat for a trainer seat, I guess you would call that as well. There's sunshades. This seat is the most comfortable operator seat I've ever sit in. And it's air ride suspension. You've got lumbar support. You've got multiple adjustments forward and aft and recline. And it's got range of motion, shock absorption. It's got horizontal suspension, all kinds of stuff.
It's all the stuff that isn't in this seat. This one where I'm sitting really isn't.
Yeah, yours is not so great.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying mine.
Okay, so I would like you to drive up to the crest, and as you get to the crest, just take your foot off the throttle.
Okay.
I'm going to try and take a video of it. Okay, take off your foot. Okay, so you can see that 7 miles per hour in blue on the speedometer now. It has grabbed that speed. So we don't have enough of an incline right now to push us down. But it has grabbed that speed, and it will control with all the controls that we have at our disposal when there's engine brake, when there's a transmission retarder, when there's brake tarders. We will use all those systems automatically to limit the vehicle's speed to that speed at which you took your foot off the throttle, which makes it so much easier for an operator to control the retarder, because he doesn't have to control the retarder. We control all those things for the operator.
So this is set on 3. So even on the B20, even though it doesn't have hydraulic retardation, what am I adjusting here?
It's the aggressiveness of that braking effect.
Okay.
And it's these 3 things that work together if all of them are fitted on a machine.
I got you.
To be more or less aggressive. But it's almost.
Which way am I going here?
You're right. You're going underneath that scanner there.
Okay.
So
We're getting ready to come up on a load scan, which is a volumetric scanning system. It's pretty cool. It measures the volume within the bin or your bed prior to being loaded, and then when you go back under it, it measures it again, and then based on the material density, it calculates the actual weight, which is pretty slick, or the actual volume, I guess.
Yeah. As far as I know, they only report volumes.
Just volume.
Yeah.
But this is a product that NED, our company, also represents across our entire 5-state footprint. And really nice product. It's a portable product. Boy, this is a lot tighter looking than it used to be.
We did the 45 through here.
Did you? Yeah, I think you have to go about 5 miles an hour to come through here for it to load. We're doing
Wait
about.
for result. Where is it? I can't see it. I don't know.
Oh, I sure hope we got it. All right. Maybe I hope I wasn't going too fast.
No, I think I saw the reading, but I was concentrating to try and catch it on the video.
On the side. Now this has a D10, which I just engaged. This machine starts up in 2nd gear. If you've got it as a default. And when I push it all the way down past that D10, that kick down puts it down into 1st gear. Correct?
That is correct.
So that
A lot of guys don't know that. You have to push that pedal all the way to the ground and go past that detent in order to engage the kick down. Where are we dumping?
I think there with the dozer is probably where we're going to be. So I would suggest you take a right and then reverse in next to the dozer.
Okay. So do I have to hit neutral and then reverse?
Actually, you don't. You just hit reverse and you drive up to your tip side, and the next thing you would do is just press the bin up button, and that's it. Machine takes care of the rest. It will engage park brake, it will go into neutral for you, it will start lifting the bin, and it will go to a RPM that...
And that's known as I-tip and drive line assist.
Correct, yes.
Okay. I'm not very good at this. What am I
It
doing?
takes a bit of... So the trick here is we've got that nice, I think it's a toe edge here in the view of the camera. That is actually a nice indicator as to where you're going.
Yeah, so far I'm not doing such a stellar job here. I'm not going to hit that dozer though.
No, you're fine.
Okay. This is what not to do.
Yeah, he's telling you can tip.
Okay. So,
Okay, you see it went into neutral automatically. You can't see it now, but the park brake is on, obviously. Right, there's our payload.
okay.
Okay, so
Awesome.
all you do now is you go into park, up into drive, and you drive off. The bin is still up,
Shut your door.
but just go for it.
It's going to automatically drop the bin.
It won't
under
drop the
gravity.
bin. It won't drop the bin. Press the bin down button.
Oh, I thought it automatically did that.
No, it doesn't. But it limits the gear you're allowed to go into. So
Okay.
you can't drive too fast with the bin up.
Gotcha.
But it gets you away from the tip side and out of everybody's way. So,
Well, I should have done this a few times before we decided to record it.
well, I think it's more adventurous like this.
Yeah, definitely is. Especially for you.
I've seen all kinds of interesting things on the first trip, and it's nice to see it because it just gives you context of what things could maybe be better, or what things could do we have a perception about that a
Yeah.
first-time operator may not get. But I mean, there's not much.
Correct.
There's not much that the operators misunderstand.
Going this way?
Yeah. Looks like they're pulling us back.
Bring it home, boys. Bring it home. It's like, man, that guy's slow. It's slow. That's not a good place for him to be. with my expertise. Engage the park brake.
You can, but you don't even have to.
Don't have to, but we did because he's walking in front. And we're there.
Remember, you're still in drive, so it's shouting at you.
So what do I do? I put it in neutral?
Put it in neutral. So when you put it in neutral, the park brake will engage.
I got you.
Okay. So what you can do now is, I would like to take a video of that.
Sure.
If you press the stop button, the turbo spin down will
Now
also...
the turbo spin down cycle is going to engage, right? Which
Yeah.
will help to cool down the turbo.
Yes, and this it's load sensing. So we measure fuel consumption, and based on the fuel consumption recently and the amount of idle time there was just incidentally because the machine gets used the way it gets used, we keep track of how much time would make sense to cool down the turbo, and by the time you press the stop button, we let it idle for that time. So in other words, if you went full throttle up a hill and you stopped right there and stopped the machine, the turbo spool down with a later machine, the turbo spool down would be a lot longer because it was working hard just before you stopped the machine. So the turbo would also have been spooled up quite a lot.
Man, what a smart machine. Thanks for taking a few minutes to go through this with us.
It's a pleasure.
I feel like I've learned something today.
Good.
Appreciate it. If you'd like more information about National Equipment Dealers, you can go to our website at nedealers.com. Thank you.